Oh my god. UFC 273. That was not what I expected, I'll say. The first two fights were meh. The Olenek one, it was good to see him get his 60th win. That was pretty impressive. And then the next fight after that with Mallet getting the Mickey Gall KO, that is what I think really got this card pumping. I liked the Ladd Pennington fight. That was pretty fun. And then the Hernandez and Gary fights, I honestly think those two kind of really dragged a bit. Things got a bit better when the main card started with Pichel and Hansen, though. That fight was pretty entertaining. Dern and Torres, man. I thought Tisha Torres won that fight. I'll be honest. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. It was really close, but yeah, that second round, man, that was something. But let's talk about the people's main event. Oh my god. Burns versus Chimaev. I don't even know what to say about this fight. I don't know what I was expecting going in. Like Burns, man, yeah. I didn't exactly think Chimaev would be able to do what he did to his previous opponents, but I did not expect him to get hit like that. Like round one, right out the gates, these dudes were throwing, and I don't even know. Like wow, just the heart on Chimaev and Gilbert Burns, like for real. That's so impressive to see. That's what is worth $80 pay-per-view right there. Might be the best fight I've ever seen. I'll need to sit on that, think about it. I actually definitely think it was better than the Michael Chandler Justin Gaethje fight we got last year. Um, so yeah, that fight was just wow. I think we got knockdowns in like every single round. Seeing Chimaev get hit was crazy. I didn't. I really think going into it that he was gonna get a round one finish, but get hit a couple times in the process. Ruin his whole four fights unbeaten, only taking 2 shots in them. But yeah, Gilbert came. He went all in with that. Like he had all of his cards on the table. That was just wow. I don't even know what to say about that one. I was smiling that whole time, left speechless at the end. Going into it, I thought the idea of Chimaev versus Kobe was kind of dumb. I thought if Chimaev won against Burns, he kind of deserved a title shot. Burns is ranked number 2. But after seeing the fight, yeah, I think a 5-round main event between Chimaev and Kobe is next. And it sounds like a really fun fight for one. Seeing Chaos and Chimaev go at it. And then 5 rounds, obviously. A lot of people I was seeing, they were kind of unsatisfied with Gilbert Burns and Chimaev not going 5 rounds, which I disagree with, honestly. I think that fight really works as a 3-rounder. Same with the Gaethje Chandler one. I thought that was also a fight that was better at 3 rounds because we might not have seen those guys go as hard as they did if they had to worry about gas tanks and whatnot. But yeah, wow, that was amazing. And then the Sterling Yan fight after that. That one was kind of sad to me. I was really rooting for Yan to get his title back, and I kind of did feel like Sterling was very capable of winning this fight. And yeah, it was close. I scored it to Sterling just barely by that first round. I think he was only ahead by like 3 strikes. I honestly think it was actually a big punch that Aljo landed at the end of that round that really cemented that he won the round. I don't think if he got that punch, he would have won. But yeah, it could have been a draw, honestly. I was kind of hoping for that because I didn't feel like in my right heart that Piotr could have won. But if it was a draw, I would have been fine with it, I guess. But yeah, Sterling, rounds 2 and 3, he locked in that body lock, and Jan couldn't do anything about it. Man, it was cool seeing Jan adjust to it, I guess, though, in the 4th and 5th rounds. I just kind of wish he started a bit quicker in that first one, because that would have won it for him if he just landed more. But yeah, I don't really slight Sterling for using the body lock. It's It's a martial arts competition. That's a strategy. It's within the rules what he did. It's definitely boring. He didn't really get any close submissions or anything. Jan had really good defense, but you can't really slight Aljo for Jan's defense. Like if he choked him out there, people wouldn't be calling him boring because he finished him. Jan just had too good of defense to get choked out. And then the main event, wow, that just wrapped up, and I didn't want to see that fight going into it, and I didn't like watching it. It's one of those beatdowns where like there's nothing in it. Sure, Zombie landed a couple shots, but you just kind of knew going into that fight that he didn't really stand a chance. You know, that was the fight going into it that I thought had the least chance of the underdog coming out victorious, and it showed. It really did. And yeah, Volkanovski, it was quite impressive. Got his legacy fight that he wanted, a big win over a big name. At this point, I don't know who could refute him as the potential GOAT of the featherweight division. I mean, if he beats Holloway again, I think that's it. He's the GOAT. Because he's already beaten Holloway, who's one of the other guys spoken about in the conversation, and obviously Jose Aldo, he also beat him. So yeah, I think it's got to be Volkanovski. At this point, I honestly think he is the featherweight GOAT. He's so dominant, so well-rounded, and I mean, he's at like 10 or 11 fights in a row now since signing the UFC. Like that's a pretty big number. He's getting up there with Usman. But speaking of Usman, man, him versus Chimaev. I didn't know what to think of that fight before tonight, but after seeing Chimaev versus Burns, Usman is a problem. Like how this guy is really, really good. Because Chimaev's wrestling and Gilbert's jiu-jitsu kind of evened out. Chimaev had some moments where he was able to get a dominant ground position, but Gilbert didn't really seem to struggle that much in that department. And then on the ground, obviously, they were just having a firefight. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we've seen what happened when Usman got in a punching match with Gilbert. He went out in round 2, I think it was. So yeah, I think Chimaev, Usman is scary for him. Oh man, I feel like Chimaev is really, really suited to beat Izzy. I don't think he stands a good chance against Usman. Because if their wrestling cancel each other out, then we're just going to end up having a potential striking match. And if you do the fight math, I know fight math isn't always reliable and correct, but yeah, it points to Usman winning that. And I mean, we've seen he can go 5 rounds with Colby, Cardio King, as they call him. But yeah, that was UFC 273. As far as the pay-per-views this year, man, this one's definitely divisive for me. Because going into it, I thought it was the best looking card, just because I was really excited for that Jan Sterling fight. And I was kind of disappointed by earlier pay-per-views this year. Like, they had strong undercards, and like they delivered with good matches, but the headliners never really gave that fight, that gripping, entertaining fight that you'd want from a big marketed fight like that, like the Kobe Masvidal fight that didn't really live up to expectations, and Masvidal tried continuing it in the streets, and it's like, man, why didn't you throw those punches in the fight? I know there's a whole conversation around that, but I don't know. It was, oh man, it might be my favorite pay-per-view this year. If I'm comparing it to the UFC London card, which I preferred to pretty much all the pay-per-views we've gotten thus far this year, they have their own different ups and downs. Like, I think the London card had more hype around it. Like, I was more anticipating it in the build. I found during the early prelims, especially in some of the prelims, I was just kind of bored. and just like, when is the hype gonna set in? But it did set in around the Pennington fight. But yeah, Khamzat Chimaev. What is next for this guy? I guess it's Colby. Cannot wait to see that. Thank you guys for watching. I will talk to you